Lisa Carter pushed her cleaning cart down the long hallway of Nexus Prime. The wheels squeaked softly on the metal floor. It was 2 in the morning, and the research station was quiet. Most of the aliens and humans were sleeping in their quarters. Lisa liked the night shift. During the day, the hallways were full of important people rushing around. Scientists in white coats, military officers with shiny medals, diplomats talking in hushed voices about things she was not supposed to hear. They all walked past her, like she was invisible. She had been working on Nexus Prime for 3 years now. 3 years of fixing broken air systems and cleaning laboratory equipment. 3 years of being ignored by everyone who thought they were better than her. The research station was huge. It floated in space between Earth and the alien homeworlds. 7 different alien species worked here with humans. They were supposed to be sharing knowledge and building peace. But Lisa saw things others did not see tonight. She was cleaning the biolabs on level 7. Her security card beeped as she opened each door. The card gave her access to almost every room on the station. After all, somebody had to clean the places where important work happened. Lisa entered Lab 7A and turned on the lights. The room was supposed to be empty, but something was wrong. The air recycling unit was humming too loudly. She had fixed this unit last week, and it should not sound like that. She opened her toolkit and checked the system. Inside the air filter, she found something strange. Were tiny drops of green liquid stuck to the metal mesh. The liquid had a sweet smell that made her nose burn. Lisa pulled out her scanner and tested the liquid. The screen showed results that made her frown. The liquid contained proteins that matched human DNA, but this was an alien research lab. No humans were supposed to work here. She took a sample and sealed it in a plastic bag. Then she wrote notes in her maintenance log. Time, 2:17 a.m. Location, Lab 7A. Problem, unknown organic substance in air filter. Possible contamination. Lisa moved to the next lab. Lab 7B belonged to the Helix Collective. The Helix were insect-like aliens with 4 arms and big black eyes. They always clicked their teeth when they talked. Lisa had learned to stay out of their way because they did not like humans very much. The lab door was locked, but her card opened it. Inside, the equipment was still running, even though no one was supposed to be working. Strange blue lights flashed on the computers. Lisa checked her schedule. The lab should have been shut down for cleaning 3 hours ago. She found more problems. Here, the storage containers were warm when they should be cold. Some of them had serial numbers that were not in the station database. Lisa wrote everything down in her log. As she cleaned the lab benches, she found more traces of the green liquid. It was in places where it should not be. On door handles. On computer keyboards. On the air vents that led to other parts of the station. Lisa felt a cold fear in her stomach. Something bad was happening here, but she did not know what. She finished cleaning and moved to level 5. This level had the human research labs. The hallways here felt more familiar. She knew the scientists who worked in these labs. They were not friendly to her. At least they did not treat her like dirt. Dr. Kevin Walsh worked in Lab 5C. He studied alien diseases and how they affected humans. Lisa had talked to him a few times when she cleaned his lab. He was one of the few people who said hello to her. Tonight, his lab was a mess. Papers were scattered on the floor. Computer screens were still on, showing research data that Lisa could not understand. But she could see that someone had been here recently. Coffee cups were still warm. Lisa started cleaning up. She read some of the papers without. Meaning 2, they talked about bioweapons, about ways to target specific DNA types, about delivery systems that could kill people without anyone knowing. Her hands started shaking as she read. The research was about creating weapons that could kill only humans while leaving aliens unharmed. But Dr. Walsh was trying to find ways to protect humans from these weapons. Lisa looked at the computer screen. The last file Dr. Walsh had opened was titled Helix Collective Bioagent Analysis. The timestamp showed he had been working on it just 2 hours ago. She heard footsteps in the hallway. Lisa quickly turned off her scanner and pretended to be cleaning. A tall figure walked past. The lab window was a Zephyrian, one of the crystal-like aliens. Zephyrians did not usually work the night shift. Lisa waited until the footsteps faded away. Then she copied Dr. Walsh's research files onto her personal datapad. She did not understand most of it, but she knew it was important. The rest of her shift passed slowly. Lisa found more traces of the green liquid in 3 other labs. All of them were places where humans worked during the day. She also found evidence that someone had been accessing the labs after hours, but the security logs showed no unauthorized entries. That meant whoever was doing this had high-level access cards, or they knew how to fool the security system. At 6 in the morning, Lisa finished her shift. She went to the maintenance office and wrote her report. She described everything she had found: the strange liquid, the warm storage containers, the evidence that someone was working in the labs at night. Her supervisor, Carl Peters, read the report and shook his head. "Lisa, you worry too much. Aliens know what they are doing. If there was a real problem, the security team would handle it." "But Carl, I found human DNA in the alien labs. That is not supposed to happen," Carl sighed. "Look, I know you want to help, but our job is to fix things and clean things. Let the smart people worry about the science stuff." Lisa felt frustrated, but she did not argue. She had learned that arguing with Carl was useless. He only cared about getting the work done and staying out of trouble. She went to her small quarters and tried to sleep. But her mind kept thinking about what she had seen: the green liquid, Dr. Walsh's research, Zephyrian, walking the halls at night. Something terrible was going to happen. Lisa could feel it. But nobody would listen to a maintenance worker who cleaned up after the important people. She decided to keep watching. If the security team would not investigate, she would have to do it herself. After all, she had access to places other people could not go, and nobody ever noticed what she was doing. That was about to become very important. 3 weeks later, Lisa found Dr. Kevin Walsh dead in his quarters. She had gone to fix a broken air unit in his room. When she knocked on the door, there was no answer. Her maintenance card let her in. Dr. Walsh was lying on his bed, his face blue and his eyes wide open. Lisa screamed and dropped her toolkit. Tools scattered across the floor with loud clangs. She pressed the emergency button on her communicator. "Security to level 4. Quarters 4J medical emergency." Within minutes, the room was full of people. Security officers in black uniforms, medical staff with their scanners and equipment. Station Commander Jake Morrison arrived and took charge of the scene, Dr. Helen Price. The chief medical officer examined the body. She was a thin woman with gray hair who never smiled. "Looks like alien pathogen exposure," she said. "It's probably from his lab work." Lisa stood in the corner, forgotten by everyone. She watched them work and listened to their talk. But she knew they were wrong. Dr. Walsh had been healthy 3 days ago when she cleaned his lab. He was always careful about safety procedures. Commander Morrison was a big man with a loud voice. He liked to make quick decisions and move on to other problems. "Seal off his lab until we can decontaminate it," he ordered. "And review all the safety protocols. Cannot have accidents like this." "Sir," Lisa said quietly. Morrison looked at her like he had forgotten she was there. "What is it, Carter?" "I think someone killed Dr. Walsh." The room went quiet. Everyone stared at her. Lisa felt her face turn red, but she kept talking. "I found strange things in the labs. Green liquid with human DNA. Someone was working there at night. Dr. Walsh was researching bioweapons that target humans." Morrison's face got angry. "Carter, you are a maintenance worker. You fix pipes and clean floors. Leave the investigating to people who know what they are doing." "But sir, I have samples. I wrote reports about what I found. Reports that nobody asked for," Morrison snapped. "Your job is not to play detective. It is to keep this station running. Do your job and let us do ours." Lisa felt tears in her eyes, but she did not cry. She had learned long ago that crying only made people respect her less. Dr. Price finished her examination. "The pathogen is definitely alien in origin. Probably something from the Helix research labs. These things happen when you work with dangerous organisms." Lisa wanted to tell them about the green liquid she had found, about the DNA traces, about Dr. Walsh's research files. But she could see that nobody would listen to her. High Researcher Collector arrived as they were removing the body. He was the leader of the Helix Collective on the station. His forearms moved in complex patterns as he spoke in his clicking language. Very sad, he said, in his broken English. Human was careless with biosamples. We warned about proper procedures. Elisa stared at him. She had never heard Collector speak English before, usually used a translator device. But now he was speaking directly, and his words sounded almost like he was blaming Dr. Walsh for his own death. After everyone left, Lisa went back to her quarters. She pulled out her data pad and looked at the files she had copied from Dr. Walsh's computer. Now that he was dead, the files seemed even more important. She spent hours reading through the research. Most of it was too complex for her to understand, but some parts were clear. Dr. Walsh had discovered that someone was creating bioweapons designed to kill only humans. The weapons could be delivered through air systems, water supplies, or even skin contact. Lisa felt sick as she read. Dr. Walsh had been trying to find antidotes. He had been working to protect humans from these weapons. And now he was dead. 2 days later, Dr. Amy Rodriguez died in her sleep. Lisa found her body when she went to clean the weapons. Research lab on level 6. Dr. Rodriguez was slumped over her desk, her hand still holding a coffee cup. This time, Lisa did not scream. She called security calmly and waited for them to arrive. She watched their faces as they examined the scene. She listened to their explanations. Another pathogen exposure, Dr. Price said. These researchers need to be more careful. Lisa looked at Dr. Rodriguez's computer screen. The last file she had been working on was about human genetic markers, about ways aliens might target human DNA specifically. Commander Morrison was getting angry about the deaths. I want all biolabs inspected, he ordered. Check every safety system. Review every procedure. I'll not have any more accidents on my station. But Lisa knew these were not accidents. Someone was killing the humans who were getting too close. To the truth, she started watching the security feeds more carefully. Her maintenance access let her check the camera systems. She found gaps in the recordings. Times when cameras went offline for a few minutes. Always during the night shift when she was working. Lisa realized that someone was very smart about this. They knew the station's security systems. They knew when she would be working in different areas. They were using her own cleaning schedule to plan their murders. 1 week later, Lieutenant Paul Johnson died in the station gym. Johnson was a security officer who had started asking questions about the pathogen deaths. Lisa had seen him talking to other humans, wondering if the deaths were really accidents. This time, the death looked different. Johnson had collapsed while running on a treadmill. Dr. Price said his heart had stopped, probably from an allergic reaction to alien pollen in the air system. Lisa knew better. She had cleaned the gym's air filters that morning. There was no pollen, but there were traces of the same green liquid she had been finding everywhere. After Johnson's funeral, Lisa made a decision. She stopped filing reports with her supervisor. She stopped trying to convince Commander Morrison. She stopped hoping that someone else would investigate. If she wanted to stop the murders, she would have to do it herself. Lisa began her own investigation. She used her maintenance access to go places other people could not go. She studied the station's systems like never before. She learned how the air moved through every room, how the water flowed through every pipe, how the power ran through every wire, most importantly. She learned how to move through the station without being seen, because Lisa was starting to understand something important. The killers were not just dismissing her because she was maintenance staff. They were counting on everyone else dismissing her too, but being invisible had advantages. She could go anywhere. She could see anything. Nobody would notice until it was too late. The question was, too late for whom? Lisa spent the next week learning everything she could about Nexus Prime. She studied the station blueprints on her datapad. She memorized every air vent, every maintenance tunnel, every hidden passage that connected the levels. During her night shifts, she moved like a ghost through the station. She crawled through ventilation shafts that were too narrow for the tall aliens. She slipped through service corridors that most people had forgotten existed. She watched and listened from places where nobody thought to look. On Tuesday night, she discovered the truth. Lisa was hiding in an air vent above the main conference room. Below her, 5 aliens sat around a large table. High Researcher Clactor was there, along with leaders from the other alien species. They were speaking in English, which surprised Lisa. Usually they used their own languages when humans were not around. "The human problem is getting worse," said Commander Vexai, a tall Zephyrian with crystal skin that sparkled in the light. "They are developing weapons that could challenge our control of this sector. We must act faster," clicked Clactor. "3 humans are dead, but many more remain. The bioagent needs wider distribution." Lisa's blood turned cold. They were talking about murder like it was just another work project, eh? Blue-skinned Deluria named Flow Speaker Hiano spoke next. Her voice sounded like water running over rocks. "The maintenance human has been asking questions. She found samples in the labs. The cleaning female." Clactor's mandibles clicked with what sounded like laughter. "No one listens to maintenance workers. The humans dismiss their own people as easily as we do." "Still," said Vexai, "she has access to restricted areas. She could become a problem." "Not a problem," Clactor replied. "An opportunity. We can use her cleaning schedule to plan our next operations. She unknowingly provides perfect cover for our work." Lisa gripped the metal sides of the vent to keep from falling. They knew about her. They were using her own work routine to plan murders. "Which humans are next?" asked another alien. Clactor activated a holographic display. Photos of 6 humans appeared in the air. Lisa recognized all of them. Dr. Ben Parker, the chief engineer. Captain Marie Davis from security. Dr. Robert Clark, who worked on defense systems. 3 others who had been asking questions about the recent deaths. "These 6 must die before they can share their research with Earth," Clactor said. "We will use the atmospheric delivery system. The deaths will look like equipment failures." "And after they are gone?" asked Vexi. "We announce our breakthrough discoveries. Weapons technology that we claim to have developed here on Nexus Prime. Earth will be forced to purchase these weapons from us." Not knowing we stole the designs from their own people, Lisa had heard enough. She carefully crawled back through the vent system to a safe place. Then she sat in the darkness and tried to think. The aliens were not just killing humans. They were stealing human research and planning to sell it back to Earth. They would make humans pay for weapons that humans had created themselves. But Lisa knew something the aliens did not know. She understood Nexus Prime better than anyone else on the station. 3 years of crawling through maintenance tunnels had taught her every secret the station held. The aliens thought humans were weak because they had judged them by their leaders. Men like Commander Morrison, who cared more about politics than truth. Scientists who looked down on maintenance workers. Officers who followed orders without thinking, but they had never met a human like Lisa Carter. Lisa went to her quarters and opened her toolkit. Inside were simple tools that most people ignored. Wrenches and wire cutters. Chemical cleaners and pipe sealers. Electronic sensors and computer interfaces. To most people, these were just maintenance supplies. But Lisa saw something different. She saw weapons. Over the next 3 days, Lisa prepared her counterattack. She used her access cards to enter restricted areas during her shifts. She planted small devices in air vents and water pipes. She reprogrammed environmental controls and security systems. The aliens had made one big mistake. They thought Lisa was just a simple maintenance worker who cleaned up after important people. They did not realize that maintaining a space station required understanding every system that kept people alive. Lisa knew how to control the air they breathed, the water they drank, the gravity that kept them on the floors, the magnetic fields that held the station together. She also knew something else. The aliens had been so focused on killing humans that they had not studied human biology very carefully. Each alien species was different, with different weaknesses. But Lisa had been cleaning their labs for 3 years. She had access to biological samples and research data, while the aliens planned to use bioweapons against humans. Lisa was learning how to use chemistry against aliens. On Friday night, the 4th body dropped. Chief Engineer Ben Parker was found. Dead in his workshop, Dr. Price declared it another pathogen accident. Commander Morrison ordered more safety inspections. The aliens expressed their sympathy for the tragic loss. But Lisa knew this death was different. She had been expecting it. She had watched the aliens plant their bioweapon in Parker's workshop. She had seen them activate the delivery system, and she had let it happen. Lisa felt sick about Parker's death. But she needed the aliens to think their plan was working. She needed them to feel confident and careless, because Lisa was setting a trap. And she needed them to walk right into it. The aliens had called a special assembly for Monday morning. All the remaining human staff would be there to hear about exciting new research developments. Lisa knew this was when they planned to announce their stolen discoveries. It was also when Lisa planned to end their conspiracy forever. She spent the weekend making final preparations. She checked every device she had planted. She tested every system she had modified. She practiced moving through the station without being detected. Lisa also prepared something special for each alien species. The Helix Collective would get a compound that would paralyze their nervous systems. The Zephyrians would breathe in crystals that would cloud their clear skin and block their sight. The Delurians would absorb chemicals through their gills that would make them unable to speak. None of the compounds would kill them. Lisa was not a murderer like they were, but they would be helpless when she revealed their crimes. On Sunday night, Lisa made her final rounds. She looked at the places where her human colleagues had died. Dr. Walsh's lab, Dr. Rodriguez's office, Lieutenant Johnson's gym locker, Chief Parker's workshop. "I'm sorry I could not save you," she whispered, "but I will make sure your deaths mean something." Lisa went to her quarters and tried to sleep. Tomorrow would be the most important day of her life. Tomorrow she would show the aliens what happened when they underestimated a human. Tomorrow, nobody would be able to ignore Lisa Carter anymore. Monday morning arrived with the sound of the station's wake-up chimes. Lisa got dressed in her maintenance uniform and checked her tools one last time. Everything was ready. The special assembly was scheduled for 10 o'clock in the main conference hall. Lisa had 6 hours to make final preparations. She started by visiting the atmospheric control center. Her access card led her into the restricted area where the station's air supply was managed. Lisa connected her portable computer to the main system and uploaded new programming instructions. The changes were invisible to casual inspection, but when activated, they would turn the entire station's air system into a delivery network for her chemical compounds. Next, Lisa went to the water treatment facility. She made similar modifications to the water recycling systems. The Delurians would absorb her chemicals through their gills when they drank or breathed near water sources. Finally, Lisa visited the power distribution center. This was the most dangerous part of her plan. She installed small devices that would create electromagnetic pulses in specific areas. The pulses would not harm humans or most aliens, but they would disrupt the crystalline nervous systems of the Zephyrians. By 9:30, Lisa was ready. She positioned herself in a maintenance tunnel that ran directly under the conference hall. Through a small viewing port, she could see into the room above. The humans arrived first. Commander Morrison looked tired and worried. The recent deaths had shaken his confidence. Dr. Price sat with the other medical staff, checking her notes about pathogen safety. The remaining human researchers and officers filled the front rows of seats. Lisa counted 23 humans, all that remained of the original 40-person human contingent on Nexus Prime. The aliens entered together, as they always did. High Researcher Kleiter led the Helix Collective delegation. His 4 arms carried datapads and presentation materials. Commander Vexai towered over the other Zephyrians, his crystal skin reflecting the room's lights. Low-speaker Hyonal glided forward with her fellow Delurians, her blue skin glistening with moisture. Lisa watched Kleiter approach the speaking platform. He activated a holographic display that showed technical diagrams and research data. Lisa recognized the images from Dr. Walsh's stolen files. Fellow researchers, Kleiter began, his translator device making his clicking speech understandable. To the humans, today we announce breakthrough discoveries in biodefense technology. Lisa waited. She needed all the aliens to be in the room before she acted. Our joint research has produced weapons that can target specific genetic markers, Kleiter continued. These discoveries will revolutionize galactic security. Commander Morrison leaned forward in his seat. Are you saying you have developed weapons that can target specific species? Precisely, Claker replied. Imagine bioweapons that affect only your enemies while leaving your allies unharmed. Dr. Price raised her hand. What about the recent pathogen deaths? Are they connected to this research? For just a moment, Claker's mandibles clicked in what Lisa had learned was alien laughter. Tragic accidents. But they have taught us much about weapon effectiveness. Lisa felt anger burning. In her chest, Claker was bragging about murdering her colleagues. He thought he was safe, because no human could challenge him. He was about to learn how wrong he was. Lisa activated her first system. The electromagnetic pulse generators came online, sending invisible waves through the conference hall. The Zephyrians immediately began to stumble. Their crystal skin flickered and dimmed. Commander Vex High fell to his knees, his hands pressed to his head. What is happening? Morrison shouted. Clacker looked around in confusion. His translator device sparked and went silent. But Lisa was not done with him yet. She activated the atmospheric delivery system. Invisible gases began flowing through the air vents. The compounds Lisa had created started affecting each alien species exactly as she had planned. The helix. Collective members began twitching as their nervous systems shut down. Clacker tried to run toward the exit, but his legs stopped working. He collapsed beside the speaking platform, his forearms flailing helplessly. The Delurians felt the effects through their gills. Low-speaker Hayanal opened her mouth to speak, but no sound came out. She grabbed her throat in panic as her voice disappeared completely. Within 3 minutes, every alien in the conference hall was paralyzed or disabled. They were conscious and aware, but completely helpless. The humans looked around in shock and fear. They did not understand what was happening. Lisa climbed out of the maintenance tunnel and entered the conference hall through a service door. She carried her toolkit in one hand and her data pad in the other. Lisa, Commander Morrison stared at her. What are you doing here? How'd you get in? I have been here the whole time, sir, Lisa said calmly. Watching and listening, just like I have been for 3 years. She walked to the speaking platform and connected her data pad to the holographic display system. The stolen research images disappeared. In their place, Lisa projected her own evidence. Security camera footage showing aliens entering human labs at night. Chemical analysis of the bioweapons used to kill Dr. Walsh and the others. Audio recordings of the alien conspiracy. Meetings. Ladies and gentlemen, Lisa announced, you have just witnessed the end of a plot to murder every human on this station. The paralyzed aliens could only watch as Lisa presented her evidence. She showed how they had stolen human research. They had planned to sell human weapons back to Earth. How they had murdered 4 innocent people. These aliens thought they could kill us without consequence, Lisa continued. They believed humans were weak and stupid. They thought a maintenance worker was beneath their notice. She looked down at Claker, who was lying helpless on the floor. But they made one mistake. They underestimated what humans can do when nobody is watching. Commander Morrison stood up slowly. His face was pale, but his voice was steady. Lisa, is this all true? Every word, sir. I have 3 weeks of evidence. I tried to report it, but nobody would listen to a maintenance worker.
Doctor?
Price was examining the paralyzed aliens with her medical scanner. They are alive, but completely immobilized. What did you do to them? I used their own research against them, Lisa replied. Each species has different biological weaknesses. I spent 3 years learning about alien biology while I cleaned their labs. They never noticed me studying their samples and data. Lisa turned to address the entire assembly. The compounds I used are not permanent. They will recover in about 6 hours. But that gives us time to contact Earth and the alien homeworlds about this conspiracy. Over the next hour, Lisa presented all her evidence to the human survivors. She showed them how the murders had been committed. She explained how the aliens had planned to frame the deaths as accidents while stealing. Human Technology Commander Morrison listened to everything without interrupting. When Lisa finished, he was quiet for a long time. Lisa? He finally said, I owe you an apology. We all do. You tried to warn us, and we dismissed you. You dismiss me because I am just a maintenance worker, Lisa replied. But that is exactly why I could stop them. They never saw me as a threat. Dr. Price looked up from her examination of the aliens. How did you know their biological weaknesses so precisely? Lisa smiled for the first time in weeks. Doctor, I have been cleaning up after these aliens for 3 years. I know more about their biology than they think anyone does. When you empty their waste containers and clean their equipment every day, you learn things. The humans began securing the paralyzed aliens and preparing messages to send to Earth. The conspiracy was over. But there would be investigations and trials ahead. As the activity continued around her, Lisa quietly gathered her tools and prepared to leave. Commander Morrison stopped her at the door. Lisa, we want to offer you a promotion, Security Chief. Intelligence Officer, Research Coordinator. You have proven yourself beyond any doubt. Lisa shook her head. Thank you, sir. But no, I like my job. But why? After everything you have done. You could have any position you want. Lisa looked back at the conference hall where humans and aliens were learning new respect for each other. Because somebody has to watch the systems that nobody else pays attention to. And apparently nobody does that better than somebody nobody notices. She walked away, pushing her squeaky cleaning cart down the hallway. Behind her, she could hear people talking about the events of the day. About the maintenance worker who had saved them all. But Lisa was already thinking about tomorrow's shift. About the systems that needed checking. About the dark corners where new threats might be hiding. Because on a space station, full of different species with different agendas, there was always something that needed watching, and Lisa Carter would be there, invisible and ignored, keeping everyone safe.